All right, say hi.
Hi.
We are live.
Yay.
I'm gonna give it a minute and see if some comments come in. I'm letting Ava say hi for a little bit here at the beginning where we start the story to give everyone time to get here. Ava especially wanted to be able to say hi, so. Yep, see, look, there's Steeg and Blackbirch. Tell them hi.
Hi.
This is always the awkward part where I don't know what to say because I don't have things to read. Look, Grampy's watching.
Hi, Grampy.
And Steeg said hi, Ava.
Hi, Steve. I love you, Mom.
I love you too, Monkey. You're sweet. You want to say anything to everybody before you have to go to bed? You don't know? You didn't think about it? Mommy put you on the spot. Oh no. Okay. Well, then why don't you say good night to everyone, and then you can go ahead and go to bed, okay?
Okay. Good night.
All right. You go ahead and go. Sleep well, little munchkin. Uh-oh. Careful, don't trip over your blanket.
I think that was the computer holder.
Oh, yeah. That's a lap desk, honey.
That was a computer holder.
All right, Ava.
It's a computer holder.
Yep, everybody said good night.
Mom,
Yes.
what's a computer holder?
I don't know what a computer holder is, but you need to go get in bed.
Okay. That's silly.
Yes, you are very silly. Children are great. What's a computer holder? I've never heard of a computer holder, but you're right, Sting. If there's a computer holder, it holds computers. Generally, we call that a desk. Or a table, I guess. I have not gotten a new headset with the microphone, so we're just using the computer microphone again. So that's fun. And because it worked so well last time, I have the whole thing typed up here. I just finished it today because I'm a slacker. I'm a procrastination queen. I don't know how many people we're going to be here. I don't know if we're going to have anybody else join us. I don't want to wait too long before we get started because I know it's kind of late and it's Sunday. But it is the full moon tonight. And I like to talk about werewolves when it's the full moon because, you know, werewolves and full moon, it's kind of obvious. But I know we have a blue moon, a second full moon in October on Halloween. I'm trying to come up with something special for that. So if you have any ideas, let me know because I don't know, because it's Halloween, which is my anniversary. And, you know, Halloween, I gotta take Ava trick-or-treating too. So I don't know if I can do anything live for it, but if you can think of like a fun bonus video, then let me know. Yes, for some reason, a lot of writers that I know are also procrastinators. It kind of seems to go together. I don't know why, because procrastinating is not how you get writing done. It's not how you finish a book. So, but we are a bunch of procrastinators. Not all of them. I know some who are like really, like they're just on it. And unfortunately, I'm not one of those people, which I guess is why I'm still writing my book. Yay! So, we are going to be talking about a couple of different things tonight because I wanted to talk about the Rougarou, but there's really not a lot of information out there about the Rougarou, so I had to try and find some other stuff so it wouldn't just be like, you know, oh, here's these 5 facts about the Rougarou. Well, this is only a 10-minute live stream. Have fun. Good night. I didn't want to do that, so we're going to be talking a little bit about the Loup-Garou, and I've got a French werewolf story. And we'll talk about how that all connects with the Rougarou. It's fun because I love mythology. So I can't let you procrastinate obliviously, Steen. We've got to call ourselves out, or we'll never get any better, and we'll just keep staying the same. And stagnation is not fun. Yes, I love all kinds of mythology. So I had a lot of fun researching for this. Because part of the reason why I didn't get it done until today was because I was doing all that research, and because I'm a procrastinator. And I made myself a color-coded schedule, guys, to try and stay on top of this homeschool and writing and YouTube thing. And the schedule really only works if you stick to it. And if you spend your writing time, actually writing and not scrolling through Facebook or playing Best Fiends on your phone. So, just a note there. Color-coded schedules are great, but you actually have to do what you're supposed to do during your schedule. The school parts worked out great, though, so at least there's that. I just got to get on it with the writing and the YouTube part, and then I'll be good. Well, Carrie, that's my real name, by the way. I've been so good at not saying it on any of this because DM Sparrow is my pen name, and then here I go live, and I'm just like, I'm Carrie. So now you know. Carrie is a name that like 500 other people in this town have. Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. But she did give me a very popular name. So that's one of the reasons I went with the pen name, because I wanted something that would stand out a little bit more. So now you know. Not that you didn't already know that was a pen name, but now you know what my actual name is. I'm Carrie. So, just like the movie. Maybe I shouldn't say my name on my live streams. I don't want to get a copyright strike. That's Stephen King copyright. All right, it's but Steve, you're in Norway. I don't really know how popular that name is in Norway, but like around here, it's super popular. I would be going down the hallway at school and somebody would go, Carrie, and I'd turn around and they were never talking to me. So it was always some other Carrie. And then there's like 5 billion different ways to spell it, but it still sounds the same. So, but yeah, here in America, or at least, in my area of America, it's pretty popular. Hi! Yay! More people. I think I'm going to try and give it until we hit about 10 minutes before I start telling the story. I think that should be enough time for people to get here. And then if they're late, well, they can always catch the replay to get the beginning of the story. I have a lot. Well, not really a lot, but I'm excited. This is a fun one to talk about because, well, you'll see. I don't want to give it all away. Spoilers. So, hi, Milk Dud. I don't know if you want me to say your actual name on here, so I'll just call you Milk Dud. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it. I'm so excited. I may be waiting too long. I don't know. I think that the number keeps kind of going up and down. But, Okay, well, hi, Jen. I'm glad you made it. Let's see. I think it's close enough to 10 minutes now. We can go ahead and get started. Oh, you're fine. I always try to wait a few extra minutes just to give everyone enough time to get here. Because, like, especially at this time of night, kids are going to bed, some people are eating, all that fun stuff. So, but I want to go ahead and get into the story now because I'm very excited. Because, I'm always excited about werewolves. So, welcome to another live episode of Monsters and Mythology. I am, of course, TM Sparrow, writer and homeschooling mom, and today I'm going to tell you all about the Loup-Garou and the Rougarou. And yes, they sound very similar, and we'll tell you why. So the Loup-Garou and the Rougarou are deeply connected, as you may have guessed by the similarity of the names. The Loup-Garou is the French word for werewolf, and many of the stories surrounding its legends were carried by the French colonizers to North American settlements, to places that would become what we know as Louisiana and Canada. In these places, the interactions between indigenous people and the colonizers led to a combination of myths and legends that gives us the Rougarou. Yeah, werewolves are better from a distance. They really are. I wouldn't want to get too close to one while they're, actually being all wolfy. So to understand this synthesis of mythology, you have to look at all the pieces that come together to make the whole. And of course, a large piece of that mythological structure is the Loup-Garou. Now, I've mentioned the Loup-Garou before in my video on the Beast of Gévaudan. It's largely the standard European werewolf lore. Several of the legends I've shared already about how men made deals with the devil to get various objects such as rings, ointments, belts, and so on that allowed them to transform into a wolf. These tales were as rampant in France in the Middle Ages as they were anywhere else in Europe. It was an easy explanation for various crimes at the time. People are missing? Blame a Loup-Garou. House got ransacked? The Loup-Garou. The French tale of the Beast of Gévaudan is also where the werewolf's weakness to silver enters the mythology. I suppose it depends on the story you're reading. Some stories do have snuggly werewolves. I would love a nature documentary about werewolves if they were real. There would be like some Steve Irwin kind of person making documentaries about them if they were real. Yeah, the Travel Channel also does a lot of like that supernatural kind of stuff, but I like it anyway. So, like I said, cuddly werewolves. Modern literature, with genres like urban fantasy, tend to portray the werewolf in a more positive light these days. In the world of darkness, live action role playing games, the werewolves, or Garou as they call themselves, are the protectors of the earth. And, and fun fact, this is not in my script here, but fun fact, I met my husband at a World of Darkness Werewolf the Apocalypse role-playing game. So maybe that's part of why werewolves are so special to me. I don't know. So in many books, the werewolf is romanticized and painted in a positive light. In some cases, they are seen as men fighting against an inner monster. In others, they're more like shapeshifters who maintain control of their mind when they are transformed. Not a groupie, Chad. Maybe a little, but not like, packy. No, stay, Chad. I like that. Imagine werewolf groupies. So, where was I? I lost track of where I was. Okay, these positive portrayals also have their roots in France. One of the earliest stories that features the werewolf in a positive role is the 12th century lay Bisclavret by Marie de France. This story is about a baron in Brittany named Bisclavret. He was well loved by the king, happily married, and had this weird habit of disappearing for 3 days every week. No one knew where he went, not even his wife, and everyone thought this was really strange. So his wife begged and begged him to tell her where he went, and he finally gave in and told her the truth. Bisclavret, you see, was a werewolf. And when he was in his werewolf form, he had to hide his clothes someplace safe so that he would be able to regain his human form. Now, at this point, I think it's worth noting that Marie de France did a lot to set Bisclaveret apart from standard werewolves. One thing she did was when referencing traditional werewolves, she used the Norman French word for werewolf, which was garwolf, which is really fun to say, and you should try saying that like 10 times fast. Garwolf, garwolf. It's fun. And she went out of her way to point out that Bisclaveret was not like these other violent werewolves. So he was meant to be unique, one of a kind werewolf. Still, after he confessed his secret to his wife, she became afraid of him, and she conspired with a knight who had been in love with her for a long time. So the next week, when Bisclaveret disappeared, she sent the knight to steal his clothes so that he would be unable to return to his human form. When the Baron did not return, and after his people had searched for him in vain, she married the knight. A year later, when the king was out hunting, his dogs cornered the wolf that was Bisclaveret. Bisclaveret, not knowing what else to do and being afraid for his life, as you would be, ran to the king and begged for mercy by kissing his foot and leg. While the king was, of course, shocked by this kind of behavior from an animal, and he took Bisclaveret back to court so that everyone else could marvel at the wolf's nobility and gentleness. And, as entitled royalty is wont to do, he kept Bisclaveret with him at his castle, I guess to have a pet wolf. Because royalty can be fun like that in stories. Now, soon it came to pass that the knight who had married Bisclaveret's wife was invited to a celebration at the castle. However, as soon as he saw the man, Bisclaveret shocked everyone by attacking him. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a pet wolf either. But I really don't think I would want to take one like from the wild and tame it and keep it. That just wouldn't like feel right. But if somebody like a wolf dog, I would love a wolf dog. That would be awesome. But then again, if people hadn't taken wolves from the wild and domesticated them, we wouldn't have dogs today. So I don't know. Yes, now it soon came to pass that the knight who had married Bisclaveret, yes, and he attacked the knight. They all dismissed this behavior, however, correctly assuming that the knight must have wronged him. Not long after this, though, the king was visiting the area where Bisclaveret's wife lived, and he took his pet wolf with him. The wife prepared gifts for the king, but as soon as Bisclaveret saw her, he viciously attacked her and ripped off her nose. Of all things, her nose. So, like Stieg said, werewolves are all fun until they try to eat your face off. Well, naturally, everyone was quite shocked by this behavior from a normally gentle wolf. And, hold on, I lost my place again. I'm really good at that. You have to forgive me. I had a migraine this morning, and migraines like fog the brain all day afterwards. It's really annoying. Yeah, Steve called it. Look at my nose. It's the best nose. And Bisclaveret says, not anymore. Okay. So, yes, everyone was shocked because this was very unusual for the king's pet wolf. Which, of course, a wise man who was with the king pointed out. And he said, hey, isn't this the wife of the guy that the wolf just attacked, like, not that long ago? It's kind of weird. And isn't this also the chick who was married to that baron you loved who disappeared a year ago? That's kind of weird if you ask me. And then the king was like, huh, you're right. That is kind of weird. Let's torture her and figure out what happened. And of course, when you're questioned under torture, she confessed everything. And for some reason, for a year now, she had kept Bisclavret's clothes, and when she confessed everything, she gave them the clothes that she had taken. And the king's men put the clothing in front of the wolf and waited and waited, and nothing happened. So then this wise man was like, hey, maybe he doesn't want to turn into a human in front of everybody, so let's put him and his clothes in a room and, give him a little privacy. So they did, and then, of course, out comes Bisclavret, the Baron. And the king was excited, and he embraced Bisclavret. He restored Bisclavret as Baron and banished the wife and knight. And it is also said that all of the wife's female descendants were born without noses. Because if you're a woman descended from a woman who did something that was supposedly bad, of course you have to be punished. And the story was written by a woman, so that's fun. Yeah, let's torture her. Medieval times were great, weren't they, Stieg? All that torture and witch trials and fun stuff. Woo! Yes, supernatural magics. So, that's a fun little story, but it wasn't stories like this that the French colonizers brought to their new world. No, they took with them the stories of monsters that killed women and children, devilish creatures that wreaked havoc among the good people of France, the terrible Loup-Garou. It was at this time of colonizing the Americas that France was having a werewolf epidemic. Between 1520 and 1630, more than 30,000 people were executed as werewolves or witches. Lycanthropy and witchcraft were inextricably, that's a difficult word. I like to use those hard words. Lycanthropy and witchcraft were inextricably linked during this time, as you can see in the German story of Peter Stumpf, which we talked about last month. So, there are a lot of stories from this time in France, but I'm going to, yes, got to get those SAT words, got to make that education pay off somehow. There are a lot of stories from this time in France, but I'm going to save those for another time because I really want to talk about how this werewolf hysteria affected the legends in North America. The Rougarou legend is a result of the merging of the French Loup-Garou lore with legends of some of the indigenous tribes of North America. You take some of the stories of the werewolf curse, mix in a little of the Algonquin man-eating wendigo, let it simmer a bit, and voila, you get a Rougarou, which, as I'm sure you can tell by the way it sounds, is actually just like an evolution of a pronunciation of Loup-Garou. Like, maybe they couldn't quite say it the French way, so it ended up just being adopted as Rougarou. That's basically just an R instead of an L. So the Rougarou is most often described as some kind of wolfman. Usually, he's said to have a human body and a wolf or a dog head. Although the legend has sometimes been connected with chickens, pigs, or cows as well, which is really quite the mix when you think about it. There are several variations on this story of the Rougarou. To some, it is a boogeyman used to threaten and scare children into behaving. Oh, if you're bad, the Rougarou will come and get you and eat you. Because we love to control our kids with fear sometimes. Yeah, where cow and where chickens. And there was one story, I couldn't find like specific stories, which I have here in the script, but there is one kind of vague story where a man looked out his window and he thought he saw the Rougarou, and when he looked back, it was a cow. There's like an extra cow with his other cows. And then when he looked back again, there was his neighbor or something. I don't know. It was weird and rather vague because the internet is fun like that sometimes. Yes, Black Birch, parenting is a lot of fun. It really is actually fun sometimes, and then sometimes it's fun. Yes. Can you imagine the weird chicken? Although I have seen there's an author out there who writes books, and one of the characters was a were hedgehog. So that's a unique twist. I have not read the book because I'm not particularly interested in were hedgehogs myself, but people like what people like. So, other than scaring children, the Rougarou has also been said to be a monster who will come for Catholics who don't follow the rules of Lent. But it can also just be, like it's a monster. It doesn't particularly come for children or Catholics or, things like that. And they're monsters. You can become a Rougarou if you skip Lent for 7 consecutive years, or if you were bitten by one, or if you cut one and draw its blood, although some people say that you also have to tell someone about it for that to work. So, yes, some say that, like a Wendigo, you will become a Rougarou if you practice cannibalism. But also, you can be cursed by a witch and become one. In some stories, you can become a Rougarou just by looking at one. So that's fun. Some say that the curse will last for 101 days before it's passed to someone else. According to others, it will only last until it's passed to someone else. Or maybe you're always a Rougarou once you become one. They also say that the only way to kill a Rougarou is to decapitate it and burn its body completely. Yes, all roads lead to Rome, and all roads lead to becoming a Rougarou. So I was not able to find any specific. Yeah. That would be one for the outtakes if this were not a live video. Being live is fun. So I wasn't able to find any specific stories about the Rougarou like you can find with werewolves. There aren't any tales of Joe Smith becoming a Rougarou and terrorizing a town, just a few rumors and of sightings and nameless urban legends. But these legends are pervasive and persistent. Well, you really actually already have spelled it correctly, Jen, because if you Google it, you will find like 15 different ways to spell Rougarou. So it's really great. Very confusing. So, yes, for our closing paragraph. Folklore is fun in the way that it's passed on and changed throughout time. Legends grow and take different forms depending on the perspectives of the people telling the stories. And the Rougarou is a pretty popular one, especially in Louisiana, which many Americans will tell you Louisiana, and especially New Orleans, is the supernatural capital of our country. So some towns in Louisiana hold Rougarou festivals where you can hear the tale being passed down from storytellers. The Audubon Zoo in New Orleans even has a Rougarou exhibit dedicated to the tale of this fascinating monster. So, let's see. Yeah, though in America, especially, a lot of our words are just like from people not knowing how to say words in other languages. And that's kind of a thing worldwide, I think, really. But, fun times. Yeah, I know, right? Like, I looked out my window one night and saw a Rougarou, and now I'm a Rougarou. That really sucks. Like, you just can't do anything about it. The Rougarou, they also do talk about it some in areas of Canada and Michigan, but my understanding is that it is more popular and more well known in Louisiana as like a monster of the bayou. So, well, it's really not hard to ruin English words, Black Birch, because English is weird. It's just weird. I don't, and we have to learn English, from being a baby. Learning another language is hard, and I always have a lot of admiration and respect for people who are learning English as a second language, because English is hard. But that was our whole werewolf story. So now's the part where we can just kind of talk for a little bit if you guys want to, or if you are not feeling particularly chatty, we can go ahead and end the stream. I'll leave that up to you guys, because, you're the ones sitting there watching me, listening to me fumble my way through stories, so. Oh, yeah, I don't know that exact quote, but I do like that one, because a lot of English words are really from other languages, and it's just crazy. And, we're talking about languages. Let me tell you guys, Ava has been learning Latin since first grade. So she knows, like some basic Latin stuff. We picked Latin because there are a lot of languages that are based in Latin, and she likes languages. She's been wanting to learn Spanish, and Spanish has a lot of similarity to Latin. And plus, there's a lot of science words and English words and things like that are, based in Latin. So I figured it'd be a good one to learn. Well, this year for third grade, she's continuing Latin, and she's wanted to add Spanish. So, yeah. And she's 8. Yes, it is big in the medical field. And right now, she still wants to be a paleontologist. And I think one of the things you can study to go into paleontology is biology. So, let's see. I do not know of any all-American werewolf legends, but if there are any, I would say they would be in the Native American lore. And Native American lore isn't really my story to tell. But yeah, America's like basically a whole bunch of lore from different places all mixed together. We have some pretty interesting American lore, like the Jersey Devil is a pretty interesting one. I think there's some others, but none that are like specifically werewolves. But yeah. I can't even name all of the bones in the body in English, so you guys are definitely, one up on me. I know a little bit, tibula and fibula and all that fun stuff. I couldn't tell you where they all are, but, this is why we homeschool moms buy curriculum from other people so that we can learn some too. Yes, that's true. And went to school for it, so I'm glad that your, education is paying off. I went to school too. I went to college for a little bit and changed majors like 5 times. So, yes, I know that the skull's in the head, and then you have like your jawbone and things like that, but I know where the vertebrae are. Or vertebrate. I don't know. I don't do science. Science was never my strongest subject, nor was math. I'm decent at math. English. English was always my best subject, which is why I'm a writer, I guess. But I was always the kid that would get in trouble in other classes. I'd be in math class with whatever novel I was reading, and I'd have my math book open, and then I'd have the novel in front of it. Or if we didn't have a book out, I'd have it on my lap under the desk reading. This is an English class. You're not supposed to be reading right now. Well, I'm sorry, everything else is boring. Well, I know it's cranium in English. I know we use that word. And that's where we have representatives from Norway and from Sweden. We are a multicultural stream. What would a multicultural scream, guys? Would you just like scream a bunch of words in different languages? Well, yeah, we say skull too, but we say cranium too when we're trying to be fancy or silly. Because, you know, in America, being smart is funny sometimes. You guys have any questions or anything? I like answering questions. I don't like trying to think of things to say by myself. Because here I am on a live stream and I have social anxiety. For real, you guys, like 2 years ago, I would not have been able to do this. I would have had a panic attack and had to cancel. But so I'm very proud of myself to be able to do this now. I used to tell people I don't have the personality for YouTube. I guess I was wrong. Oh, well, I'm glad you're reading more about it because it really is very interesting. I have been reading a book on my Kindle. Yeah, I need to finish watching Teen Wolf. I didn't even finish the first season. I start shows and then, like, I do, like, binge sessions and I watch a lot at one time and then I take a break for a really long time because I don't really have, like, a lot of time for watching TV. Let's see, I'm gonna bring this one to the cover so I can show you guys. I had this book on Kindle. It's called The White Devil, and it looks like it's showing it to you backwards, so that's fun. But yeah, it's The Werewolf in European Culture, and I just started reading it, and it's really interesting. So far, I shared a picture of it on Instagram, I think, but yes, there's so much werewolf stuff out there, and a lot of people have like their own lore for it. And oh, good, I'm glad. On my screen, it was showing up backwards. Maybe it flipped it before it showed it to you guys. But yeah, I really like mythology and what it says about culture and the way that it has evolved throughout time. So I'm planning on at some point doing a video on the hero's journey, which I believe has its basis from mythological stories, because I believe Joseph Campbell called it the monomyth, if I'm understanding correctly. I've been doing a lot of reading lately. Well, not like reading. I've been wanting to do a lot of reading lately. I've been reading a book on different plot structures too, which is really interesting. So I have an upcoming video about an Eastern plot structure called Kisho Tenketsu, which is really interesting. It's a really intriguing kind of plot structure. I'm still doing a little research for that, so that'll be fun. I have started reading like 4 different books right now. Yes, religious mythology is so cool. Like, the way that people have used mythology to explain things that they didn't understand and all the different stories that they came up with is really cool. And I really like finding similarities in mythology and legends. When I was in college for one of my English classes, I did a presentation on vampires. And in my research for that, I discovered that pretty much every culture in the world has a vampire legend. There's even one from Japan, which is super fascinating because of how isolated Japan was for such a long time. So it really makes you think, like, there's a lot of vampire stories around the world. Where does this come from? Yes, Norwegian vampires. Yes, maybe when I run out of werewolf stories, I'll have to start doing vampire stories. because I like vampires. I had planned this year to do a werewolf video for every full moon, but I find that I am running out of ideas. So if you know of any werewolf legends, any werewolf stories that I have not covered, please feel free to send me a message on Facebook or Instagram or, wherever. Twitter, I'm on there too. And let me know, because it's only July. I still have 6 more months if I'm going to do one for every year, or for every full moon every year. I'm not going to do one for every year. Like, I'm going to run out at some point. There are only so many stories. But I just thought it would be really cool to do a werewolf video with each full moon. And some months you might get an extra Monsters and Mythology video. So if there are any non-werewolf monsters, legends, myths, lore that you would like to see me cover, let me know. I might do some on dragons, because I also love dragons. But wolves are the ones that I have tattooed. I don't know if I can... Yes, that one. And this one. This is my logo for Children of Remus, which was actually designed by Jen. I don't know if she's still here or if she had to go. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. So I think things seem to be winding down. And yes, you're here, Jen. Jen is really awesome. She does all my logos. So if you like my logos and you need a logo, you should hit her up. The Dust Jacket Designs. She does all my book covers too, which nobody has really... Well, a few people have seen, but not everybody. But they are really great. She does a great job. She has a lot of great pre-mades. So I love you, Jen. You do a great job. No problem. You do a great job, so I have to share. And especially because self-publishing is really expensive. And so Jen does like a really great job of working with people. Her prices are very reasonable. So if you need a cover or a logo, you should give her a look. So yes, Steeg has seen them. He has seen some that, like, he's one of the only people outside of my house and outside of Jen who has seen them. And so that's a lot of fun. But like I said, things seem to be winding down. So I think we're going to go ahead and call it a night. I like to kind of try to keep these short. Later this month, I will be co-hosting with Samantha L. Nassett again. We are going to be doing, I think we're going to be doing a discussion stream towards the end of this month. It's going to be fun. So I hope to see some of you guys there too. And of course, you can check out my website, sign up for my newsletter. I'm working on a short story for my newsletter subscribers. Yeah, and then you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. Just look for TM Sparrow. So, I think we might be discussing werewolves, because that is my area of expertise. I hope that's what we're going to be discussing. So, yes. Anyway, I will see you guys next month. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. I have cool topics coming up, like Kisho Tenketsu plot structure, my least favorite female character tropes, another book review. So it's going to be great. I love you guys. Thanks for coming. I had fun, and I will see you next time.